State Representative Andrew Kuzma's office. I've already apologized to Dave Montgomery here for my spell correct, but it has to Mr. Kuzma's name. Supposed to be K-U-Z-M-A.
It's okay.
Humiliated, embarrassed that I did that, but I apologize already. So Carl has been working with, State Representative Andrew Kuzma's office about a potential planning grant, and he's asked Dave Montgomery to come in tonight to explain what it's about.
Okay, it's called the PA Sites Grant. It was originated in September of 2024. And what it is, there's two sections to it. One's for construction and one's for planning. So what?
Let me clarify first, I forgot to say. They're interested in doing a grant for planning what used to be the Elrama Power Plant. Just to clarify, that's the property that they're interested in doing a grant for planning.
It's a feasibility study for redeveloping that site. Since it's been torn down, it'll create a game plan, like you have for Mitchell. And Mitchell's still there, and it's not easy to redevelop that because the power grid goes through there, and it's a lot of problems. This is cleared out, so they'll figure out the best future use of this property. And I've talked to Dan Alwine, he's from the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce, and he feels this is very, this is what they do, is redevelop brownfield sites. And he feels very confident that this is you get the grant. So he agreed about $50,000 to do this. And you have to hire a planner. I know of a planner that will do it, John Trant. He worked for us in Jefferson for years. He had fallen out of the council and left, but he does do planning for the state. He does the instruction for the state, and he's an attorney and a certified planner.
So, is there a match? Does it cost the township anything?
From what I understand, no, and Dan will come out and explain it here at the township. You don't have to go downtown or anything, he'll come out and talk to whoever wants to talk to him. He feels very, every time I see him, he says, what's the township gonna do? I said, let me talk to them. And,
so, they would come and do like a marketing
He
thing?
would,
For that property to maybe develop it into something that would produce jobs.
they'll come up with a detailed description of a proposed planning site, just reading from the law. The specific locations of the site, the known site characteristics, the ownership, the entitlements, and whether the site can be identified as a priority investment for economic development of the region, and what industries are targeted. So that's sort of what they do.
So to take like a brownfield property and turn it into something that
Something
creates
else.
jobs.
He would look at traffic that would flow in there, and whatever else you have river frontage, you have rail frontage, you have all that's there.
The plant sits on both Allegheny and Washington.
Right, and, yes, it does.
Majority's in Allegheny, if I remember.
No,
So majority's in
majority's in
our
Washington, you have 90%.
We have 90%.
10% is Jefferson.
So they have to engage with the same gentleman?
Well, we'll start, we're starting with the union because 90% of it's in Washington County. But being it's multi-county, multi-municipal, that even makes it better in some ways with the state. So, I think that from what I saw of the tax records for Allegheny County, because they're on their website, they have never paid taxes.
So
The owners are from Puerto Rico,
company from Puerto Rico.
we don't know
It
who they
isn't
are
paying taxes,
because
at least in Allegheny.
I went down there.
Who's the current owner? He bought that from the utility?
Well, no, the utility sold it to that Gen On, and there were several in there that operated the plant, and then they sold it to this Puerto Rican company, because I went down there, Andrew says, go find out who owns this, so I went down and asked the guys tearing it down. I said, well, you have to talk to somebody in St. Louis. And I said, well, what do they know? And he said, well, it's really somebody in Puerto Rico, and it is.
Yeah.
That's what comes up on Allegheny County's website, and they have never paid taxes back to 21. So you probably aren't getting taxes either for it. So it's just fallow property.
Our tax collector says we're not. So we're
They have
not,
not paid taxes
Yeah.
probably since 21.
Okay, so they match Allegheny County.
Right,
So it's doing nothing, and it's riverfront property.
and it's an address in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Well, they have to go, if they're not paying the tax, you go through tax sale situation.
So I guess for those reasons, the fact that it's partly in Allegheny, mostly in Washington,
Mostly in
partly in
Washington.
Jefferson, partly mostly in Union, it's not collecting any tax revenue, and it's a brown field that needs cleaned up, and maybe something could happen down there.
So you're saying the taxes have been paid for,
Well, they may be paid, since I can't collect delinquent taxes, Port North Law Associates collects for the school district. The Washington County Tax Claim Bureau collects for the township. They may be paid at that level, because generally it goes up for tax sale if
that's what I'm
property's
saying.
I'm
not
gonna-
paid for 2 years.
I'm gonna venture to say there maybe not, since they're not paying in Allegheny.
Yeah, but it
That
hasn't
was-
also gone up for tax sale.
10% in Allegheny.
Well, but it doesn't, see, no, it's my understanding of tax law, basically, that even though the parcel may be partly in Allegheny, what is it, Jefferson Hills?
Jefferson Hills, yeah.
And parts of the thing, he still had to pay their share over to the township.
Correct.
Well, I just looked at Allegheny County itself lists everything.
They have their information
So
online.
it's easy to
They're
find,
not paying there.
and they
Why not pay
haven't paid that, so I assume they didn't pay here or anywhere.
But again, if you're not paying taxes, like you were saying.
Well, they haven't paid me,
Right,
but,
yeah, I'm saying, but they had to go to a tax sale or something with.
and it hasn't gone on the tax sale, so they may be paying the outside agency that collects our delinquent taxes.
So that's another story for another day.
Yes, right.
But in
The
the,
point of this is, if you're interested, I can give you Dan's number, and he can come out and explain it.
should.
And I'll come with him, we have, I have someone to help to write grants if you need anything like that.
Thank you, Dave.
so you have a grant person too?
Yeah, Rick Karen
Separate.
Busey helped Diana write a grant for demolition for the Nike Center,
Okay.
so.
There you go, that's an answer, TJ. The mitigation one.
So it's,
So how does the board feel about having, what's the gentleman's name?
Dan Allwine, he's from the Greater Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce.
What's his name?
Dan Allwine.
Albright?
He was the chief of staff of State Senator Pamela Avina before.
So he's the person that would do all this stuff?
He would explain, he would come and answer your questions in more detail. I gave everybody a copy of this from the state, and then I'll come and help if you know, we can, and then you apply. And then you wait, see if you get the money.
So you just need a motion from the township to approve submission of a planning grant with the assistance of COSMA office?
That would be that'd be fine. So it's on page 2 and 10. That's
Okay, so Carl made a motion.
So this is almost like playbooks that they did for.
They did a
different-
playbook for Mitchell.
But then it's too costly to
And
take
we,
down.
I even went,
But they did like 6 of those playbooks, and a lot of them turned into stuff.
they can.
Yeah.
The big advantage to this is, it's gone. Elrama Power Station isn't there.
So,
Yeah, where the Mitchell
Mitchell's still
hard
there.
sell, even with the playbook, because it's costly to take down. and-
Yes, yes, and we went to the
This is
Harrisburg.
also a smaller property, more marketable in a lot of ways, because what they had did for the playbook for the Mitchell was a cracker plant, a big medical and retail facility. It was a lot of 300 something acres. It was hard, you'd have to commit to figuring out how to do something with all 300 something acres and no roadway.
And it's
And
not,
no roadway.
and then there's property in there in the middle of the plant that isn't part of that.
Then there was a lane property and yeah.
How much acreage is that on, do you know?
I don't know. But it goes
Do you know how
from,
many acres Elrama Power Plant used to be?
I don't off the top of my head.
I'm almost thinking.
that goes over the firewall or the,
Yeah, it comes almost up to the back of the power hole.
is that ball field and, is,
It's part of the ball field.
is that name part of the ball field? Okay, so
We're
that
working
goes,
with them to sign that over.
who you working with? The guys at the Puerto Rico?
Yeah, we've been trying to get a hold of them people, and it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, that's what the guys tearing it down said, it's hard to get to talk to them.
You think maybe they don't wanna pay the taxes, so the township will take it and take care of the contamination that's done there too? You're gonna be contaminated.
well, what happens if it goes to a tax sale? whoever
Someone
wants
buys
to furnish,
it on
someone has to
sheriff's
furnish.
sale.
We, it doesn't come to us, I mean,
The school would have a huge thing. and
But you're gonna be contaminated.
Dave, is Jefferson getting involved with the same thing?
Well, I thought I'd come here first because of this again.
Yeah, it's only like 10% of it.
All they own is out by the road.
Oh,
They
okay.
own the roadway going in,
Parking lot.
the roadway and that little parking lot to the left.
Okay.
They own the roadway going in.
But the plant itself and
Correct, the
everything,
plant is in use.
and the ball field's all you.
Correct. West Elizabeth down.
No, West Elizabeth, that's nothing to do with it.
Pardon?
West Elizabeth, you're asking that part of it?
Yeah, where the roadway is in, I'm just asking.
It's all Jefferson.
Like he said, it lines along their ball
Well,
field,
West
the fire
Elizabeth,
station. and
it's
stuff.
way down by.
You go all the way to the chemical plant?
The chemical plant's Jefferson, that's it. Although they say they're West Elizabeth, it is.
Mr. Bailey,
Yeah,
what part was the fire department interested in?
what's that?
What part of that?
There's a part in the ball field where our property connects in the back. Part of that ball field is owned by Beacon Light or Gen On.
Or whatever they are now.
Yeah, it's not down by the river.
Well, what I'm saying
It's
is
way
if-
up by 830.
if we do the land planner thing, we can always take that into consideration as far as the fire department, you know, cause if you're gonna go a useful thing with it, fire department's useful. You can always tell the land planner to kind of plan for that.
Right.
They look
So
at
let me
everything.
ask you a question, Mr. Montgomery.
Yes.
Since we don't own the property, and we make this application for this grant, sometimes grants require the municipality to have an interest or own the property. Can you still apply for this grant?
According to Dan Alwyn, you can't, because he knows all that. And
He says we can?
he said you can.
And that kind of would be like the playbooks that the Mitchell did, that the Cracker Plant and Beaver
Who
did.
paid for the Mitchell? Does anybody know?
Who applied?
Who paid for the Mitchell playbook? Does anybody know here?
Who applied for it? Who paid for it? Oh, that was, it was like 3 different, the DP, it was like, almost like the Elrama Park thing, where there was a DP thing because of the cleanup of the toxic site, there was a redevelopment authority in there, and then those playbooks got written by that. The Mitchell one was wrote by the same woman that did the Cracker Plant.
Well, she works with him.
She works, I met her at a
Yeah,
tasting thing at the
Sue.
Meadows.
So we have to contact the man, or he's gonna get a hold of it?
I'll give you the number, I don't have it with
How
me.
do you wanna do that?
So, does it need to have a motion to move forward with talking to, cause up until we talked to him, he doesn't really have a grant for us to sign, right? There's
Oh,
nothing
no,
here
you'd have
today.
to, you'd have to.
So I
So
guess
then
there's
just-
no motion
Well,
today.
no, then,
It's a conversation, right?
Yeah.
That's all it
then
is.
I'm only saying
Carl
'cause I
would
had it
choose
on as a motion,
Okay,
Carl
fine.
did it, I didn't know if we had to
Yeah.
make a motion
Alright.
or not.
So Carl would do the motion, you'll contact whoever and go for it, okay?
Who do you want me to
So-
call the township tomorrow?
Oh,
Yeah,
Janice.
sure.
Call Janice, I'll give you his, I'll call and tell him or email him.
Yeah, you can just call here at the office.
And I'll give you everything I have for him. Now, he has somebody that actually does these projects around and he went and lobbied Harrisburg for this money, so he wants to get as much of it to Allegheny County and Washington County and the Southwest, that's what they do, so. We don't want Philadelphia to get it all, so.
Tell them to call me.
Okay.
I guess this was a great option because they fill a category in Allegheny and a category in Washington, a category,
It's good
so
political.
one
Yeah, it
property
is.
covers a lot of bases.
Yeah, and Andrew covers both those areas,
Yeah,
right?
he does, yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Montgomery.
Thanks.
You should put a cryptocurrency facility in there.
The town representative goes